It's time once again to go racing.
It does not get any better than this.
The pressure is really on now.
Yes, it's pole position. Lights out and we're racing in PSGL.
The first lap has been absolute chaos.
What an overtake.
Oh no!
I've never seen anything like it.
Side by side again. This will be settled right at the end.
Hello everybody and welcome along to PSGL Season 30. This is the F2 tier on the PlayStation platform and we head to the Circuit of the Americas for round 13 of the championship. It is the United States Grand Prix and one of Tom's first chances to potentially clinch the F2 championship tonight. My name is Jess and joining me as per usual we've got Owen Wyatt. How you doing?
Hello Jess, hello viewers, and yes, free to go. And Tom, very much the favourite, having won all of the last 4 races. It has to be said, it doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to stop him, but Barack will certainly hope that he's got something to say about that tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, if you didn't check my tweet earlier on Twitter, I did say the permutations for tonight. Basically, the gap's got to be 34 points or more for Tom to clinch it tonight. I'll get the standings up nice and early. I'll get it done for you. So basically, if Tom wins this race tonight, Barack has to finish on the podium. He has to finish second, first, or third. If he finishes lower than fourth, then Tom is champion because Tom would win on countback due to the amount of wins that he has. And if Tom is second or anything like that, then Barack will need to finish fifth or below or something like that. Well, obviously, we will tell you the permutations as we're going through. Pretty much, looking at the standings, no one else below Barack can win the title. So it's a 2-horse race, it seems.
Yeah, unless we get some sort of massive upsets, which really would need a massive miracle, even bigger than 2007, then Devon would have a chance with that. That's not going to happen, not with the way Tom's been, and not with the way Barack's been this season. So yeah, I would agree, it's definitely a 2-horse race. And Tom, we've seen he's had the potential all season. Obviously, could have been wrapped up and all by now, really, if he hadn't made a couple of mistakes earlier in the season. He has been able to stay in the tier the whole time as well, unlike Valentine as well. That might have helped his title charge a little bit better. But yeah, it all looks good for now, and we'll see if he's able to do it this week or if it's in a couple of weeks' time. Either way, I do think it's a foregone conclusion already, but Barack, like I say, I'm sure he'll have something to say about it.
Yes, this track first opened in Formula 1 back in 2012, with most of the races won by Mercedes in the hybrid era. And Kimi Räikkönen won this race back in 2018 as well, being the definite favourite win of ours in the United States Grand Prix anyway. Quite overcast at the moment as Tom is going through his lap at the moment. We were speaking to Tom last week in the interviews, and he kind of likes this track out of the 2 tracks remaining. He's not keen on Imola. He's alright in Bahrain, but he knows Barack is very competitive around Bahrain, so out of all of his chances, he thinks he can do better in USA. But even if he wins tonight and Barack gets a podium, pretty much, he has a better chance of winning in Imola, even if he doesn't score very well. So he's heading towards the second DRS zone, as Legend, I believe, has got a quali ban. That's why he's retired from the pits. This is one of the first left and right handers which you can take as one turn 13 and 14. He is purple in sector 1 at the moment because he's one of the first drivers on a lap at the moment, so he's going to be setting a benchmark. He's on the medium tyres though, so he'll get a benchmark, but that strongly suggests it is going to be a dry session because otherwise they wouldn't be on the mediums as he heads towards the penultimate few corners. Seems like a tidy lap so far. Watch out for a few invalidations around this final sector, as we've seen quite a few times in a few seasons ago. It's a 132.061 for our championship leader, and Miltos, who's filling in for one of the Alfa Romeos this week, which is, I can't remember which one it is. He comes across the line in third, and Addy on the softs comes across the line in P1.
Yes, so the only time on soft so far, 8 tenths ahead of Tom. That's a decent benchmark, I suppose, actually, with how big the gap is. Of course, we'll see as the session progresses how the sort of track evolution is and how people are with not losing laps through invalidations like Baraka's just done on the last corner. So it can pretty much go wrong anywhere here. And we will see how they all get on. Trying to see who else is actually on a competitive lap. It's hard to tell really when half of them are on mediums at the moment. Kryptonite, for example, he is on soft, but then he goes and invalidates a lap. So a lot of people keeping their cards, I suppose, close to their chest. Frankie's gone up to second position. Cameron Dodds has gone fourth. We've got an Alpha Tauri of Devon for the last corner. He's kept it valid. Quite slow though compared to the other medium runners out there. Tom, the fastest of those at the moment.
Yes, Mills unfortunately has invalidated his second run. I won't be surprised if Tom goes for another run actually to get a feel for the track. Nope, he's not going for another run because he has unfortunately invalidated. We've got two of the McLarens actually on runs. Well, Cohen was on a run, he is invalidated as well. Whereas his teammate is faring a lot better heading towards the final sector now. So can he beat Azzy's lap time of a 1:31.181. We've seen lap times in the 1:30, so the drivers are not quite there yet, but it is the start of this qualifying session then. So Nicolo, who scored some decent points last time out, up to the line, and that is P2 for him. Still more time to be found. We got two of the Hasses that is coming towards the final corner. I won't be surprised if both of them go into the pit. I don't think anyone else is on the competitive lap unless you're CC Brain. No, CC Brain's not going for another run because he's running out of fuel. So that is it then for most people's first runs. And, well, not many people are showing their competitive pace just yet. And I'm not really that surprised, but I've seen in USA in the past, it is a track where it is known for doing brilliant on the alternate strategy.
Yeah, but that surprised me that a lot went for their first laps on mediums then, because that would suggest that they aren't interested in the alternate strategy. And they're actually getting these tires out of the way early on, and perhaps even saving a set of softs. Maybe they're thinking of a two-stop or something. But yeah, that's a lot on mediums early on. We'll see what they do for the second and third runs. I assume those will be done on softs for the most part, but we'll keep our eye on it, see how many decide to go out on the final lap on mediums, but I don't expect to be that many based on what we've seen at this early stage. But Azzy, P1 at the moment, he'll be quite happy with how his days go. A few more coming out of the pits now to start some more laps, and yeah, they're coming out on the softs now, so I guess hopefully this will lead to us seeing some more actual competitive laps rather than the really, well, let's be honest, the three that we've seen so far.
Yes, I think we'll probably wait until the end. But Mills, also have to say, is filling in, but he feels like he could have gone better in terms of pace, especially around Mexico. He was quite unlucky in Mexico by DNFing in that one, and he just missed out on the points in Brazil. Those were the only two races that he took part in as well. And he's in 9th place at the moment, but surely he wants to be higher than that. But he's going to be the first person to start a lap on his first fresh set of the soft tyres. You only get 3 in the first part, well, in qualifying to use, and you got to be careful because one of them may be used in the race if we end up getting a safety car, and with some people going on the soft tyres, potentially choosing that if they want to, but it will be an easy soft medium if that's the case as well. So he's going around the final corner. We've got more people starting their laps as well. We've got Miltos' teammate of Louis is about to start one. Then we got the Mercedes driver of Boland, who did pick up a penalty last week, so he did finish second in our timings, but due to the penalty that he's got, he's now dropped down to third in Singapore last week, which meant Louis was able to finish in second, which got him his joint best result in PSGL. So it's good coming from him. It's nice to see the improvement. He's currently sitting 5th in the standings. Every time he's pretty much attended in the last sort of 6 races, he's been on the podium. The rest of it has been do not start. So his form this season towards the latter half has been pretty good, I must say.
Yeah, coming in late, and he's settled in pretty well, and it is a good sort of potential for next season if he stays in this tier, which I expect he might well do, although of course we might end up doing a new season on the new game, so that could flip it all on its head. But he's certainly ending this game cycle off on a very strong note if this does end up being the last we see of it, which it probably will be. As we see middle toss through the middle sector. 1.2 seconds up so far on the overall best. That should really be, if he keeps this up, another sort of 6/10 in the last sector. And P1 on the board obviously did the first run on mediums, so you'd expect, especially if you did longer corners like the last two especially, where you had so much understeer, you'll be much more grippy. And the understeer is still there as Steph gets out of the way, but it should still be the improvement, and it should be fastest as he comes through, exploits those limits, and does put it on top. I wonder how many drivers are going to be able to get away with doing that tonight. Now that I've caught someone doing it on board, I'll be laser focused on to watching to see how many do it as his teammate goes fastest, beating him by 9/1000 of a second.
I'm almost certain that Azzy would want to improve as well, as he's about to start his run. Andrea's leaving it a bit late to go on these medium tyres, but I'm guessing he wasn't happy with his run earlier on, so he's going to keep going and try and see if he can improve as well. Dino is back this week after missing last week, so great to have him back as well. Currently sitting in 8th place in the standings. His best result was in Zandvoort, getting a P2, but apart from that, he's only managed to score 6 points in the last 2 races he's competed. The pace is there for Dino, he just hasn't shown it, and he's got unlucky in the races. He's done really well in qualifying, but he's just honestly has got to improve on his race pace at the moment. Purple in the first sector at the moment. I wonder if the game is telling porcupines or it's actually the truth at the moment, but it looked like a tidy first sets to me as Cameron Dowles actually comes across the line with a 1:30.5, and he did well in the last 2 races apart from Singapore. Singapore, he had a bad race, to be honest. But well, he did have a bad race. He just didn't manage to get any points. But he got a podium in Brazil and he got a podium in Mexico as well. And remember, he got pole in Mexico as well. So the pace again for him is there. And I wonder if Cameron is going to be showing to Louis and Connor tonight that he deserves a shot in F1 next season. Because at the moment, with pace-wise, apart from last week, he's definitely showing that he can do it.
Yeah, he's definitely got the pace, as he said before. It's just about to say where he places himself for next season. I saw Azzy trying to exploit those track limits at the penultimate corner. That didn't work. So it seems that the guys are really exploring what they can do, how they can sort of, like I say, exploit the game as Barack moves up into 2nd place. You'll have noticed that Tom hasn't actually set a time yet. He on the salty, well, he did set one, but it was invalid. This time it is valid, and we'll see if he can put himself up in front of his championship rival as he comes through the last 2 corners. Turns in relatively late, gets a decent exit, 30.5 to beat, doesn't quite do it, but he does get ahead of Barack by about half a tenth. And so that sets up a very interesting last set of runs. We'll see if anyone else can get up there, as Nicolo has crashed at the final corner. I wonder if that's the consequence of trying to exploit those limits, but he's ended up in the wall and will be starting 12th at absolute best, and even then he's going to keep falling down because I know how close this grid is. So it's a bit of a blow for him there to lose that lap. We don't know if it was a good one or not, but he's out. And I'm seeing that pretty much all these runs, I don't think anyone's improving at the minute. They'll be going back to the pits, I imagine.
Yeah, I think so. I think still a few people were not as comfortable, like Cohen, for example. I guess he invalidated on his soft run as well because his best lap time is on at the mediums then as well. So I think the S section has caught a few people out as well, because I was riding on board with a few drivers there and they seem to be validating now, and obviously the final corner as well. And the stewards are keeping an eye on that as well. So if they are caught that, and obviously the drivers report it, the other drivers report it, then they will be severely penalised as well, as Barack only sitting in P3 just behind his teammate. But if it stays as it is, Barack would potentially take this fight to Imola in a couple of weeks' time. So obviously, because if Tom finishes 2nd, Barack finishing 3rd wouldn't be too bad, because Tom will need to outscore Barack by 9 or 10 points in order to win the championship tonight. So Barack are doing okay, but Barack hasn't won a race since, I don't know, I think he hasn't won since the first round in Portugal. And we thought after Portugal that yes, Barack would potentially be a title favourite, but at the moment it's all in Tom's favour. And to be honest, with the way this is going, consistency is what rewards drivers tonight.
And we've got a few coming out to start their last laps. I'm seeing a few actually going out early. I wonder why Cameron's going out so early. Is he going to go for more than one run? I'm trying to see actually how long's left on the clock, but he's gone very early. And I think he's, I guess, feeling a bit more confident about himself at the minute. And maybe going to try 2 runs or something. But yeah, and not much action on track. I think the other car out at the minute is Andrea, and that's just going into the pits. A few more leaving now, but Cameron, the pace setter, is, yeah, showing really more his intentions, I suppose, by going like this early. We'll see how he gets on. What he might have to worry about is coming across traffic, and that could help the likes of Tom and Barack, because they may not face that just from where they are. So we'll see how these all look to pan out.
Yes, and I think with the likes of Cameron Dowles performing well in Mexico as well, he had pole for quite a long time. There was a few people that did retire, I think, like earlier on in the session, thinking they'd done enough, and Cameron Dowles pulled a lap out of the bag and said, if anything people could do, he could do better. But he is now the pace setter right now. He's got clear air. He's got 2 chances to set a lap. If he messes this one up, he gets one final chance, as we still have, I think, one of the McLaren's tyres still on the track there in the final corner. That might have put Cameron Dowles off a little bit at the moment. We've got Miltos on a lap as well in the Alfa Romeo. I think he's the first one. He's backed off, I believe, on his run, so he'll either get to go again. He's running out of fuel though, so that might be his qualifying session done it by the looks of things. Oh, he's going to go again. He's going to go again, so we'll see. Can he get higher than 11th place? No, he cannot, but he improves on his... And he doesn't improve on his time, actually. It's a 1:31.136. Everyone is going out again for one final time. Cameron Dowles cannot improve on the middle sector. Well, in the first sector, he was about 2,000 down on his previous best, but he's usually doing good in the middle sector, so that was where I expect the time to be found, as I see an Alpha or someone moving out the way. No, it's an Alpine at the moment. Cameron Dowles is taking a lot of the curb, as I thought he was going to be. He's trying to gain as much time as he possibly can in the middle sector as well. He wants his pole position, but I know Tom wants that pole position as well.
Extended on the exit. He's not doing that. He'll go across the line, slightly improve his time, and we will see if that's going to be enough, because I don't think he's going to have the ERS to go for a second run, and so that is the last that we're going to see of him today. Try and find the first one who's actually properly going for a lap, and it might take a while to find them because a lot of them are going quite slowly out there. That just tells you how early Cameron went, and luckily he didn't come across the traffic issues that we might have expected. I can't see how long's left on the clock. I'm assuming they've all got time to get a lap started, so like I say, Cameron did go out relatively early, so I might feel that these last runs have been going for a while as all the guys head through the last corner. We've got 20 seconds, so Roland's pretty much out of disqualifying session because he didn't validate the time, but look at the traffic jam at the final corner. A couple are going into the pits, but I think they're all going to make it. Has Bolin got time? He's got 6, 5, 4. I don't think he's going to make it. He's tried to set up a lap, and he's... Well, no. The timer ended early for us. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So the timer's ended early for us. But he's been able to get himself another lap started. You'll have noticed that the AlphaTauri has crashed off of Steph. Well, either that or just retired on track, but he's not finishing the session. Frankie's in 5th. Devin 6th, where we finish. And we got the Haas first one of Azzy. Topped the session earlier on, but is invalid on this run, so there's going to be no improvement there. Dino coming through as well. Hasn't got a single lap on the board yet, so this needs to be something good. And he only goes 15th fastest. I imagine that'll be Cameron coming into the pit lane, so there'll be obviously no improvements there. Ricky, next up, he is improving a little bit on his time. This could put him up towards that top 5 if he can find a little bit more time in the last sector. But he might well have run out of fuel there, actually. So he's not improved. As CC Brain now has his turn, he's down on his middle sector, so he might not improve unless he's had a better final sector, which he has. He's gone up into the top 10. Now, here comes Barack. What's his time going to be like? It's P1 for now. Tom beats him. So it's Tom from Barack at the minute. What about Mateo? He's down in the middle sector, and he will end up 5th overall. Kazizel cannot help his teammate out. He's down in 15th. Andrea comes to the last corner, keeps it valid this time, goes up into 8th place. Cohen, last of the guys who are still in the session, and he goes 11th with that run. Bolin, he did get a run in right at the end, but isn't improving on it and has put the brakes on. So he makes sure he doesn't improve whatsoever, and that will mean that qualifying.
So yeah, that's qualifying done then, and Tom setting the benchmark at the moment with a 1:30.368. So he is the man to beat right now, but Baraka still has a chance tonight while he's in P2. But surely it'll be nice to see a battle between these top two, I think, for this race, because they really want to give it their all at the moment. So we've got our order at the moment. So Tom leads the qualifying battle between himself and Barat in P2. Then we've got Cameron Dowles in 3rd, Bowden in 4th, Mateo 5th, Frankie in 6th, Devon in 7th, Andrea 8th, Ricky 9th, CC Brain in 10th position. And then we've got the ones who've got the free tire choice. We've got Cohen, Kryptonite, Louis, Miltos, Azzy, Nicolo, Kazizel, Dino, Steph, and Legend. Obviously Legend with that qualifying ban. And the top 17 separated by just under a second there, and we're looking at the top 3 separated just by under a few tenths there. So yeah, I'm excited about this race. I have some good feelings about this one.
Yeah, it should be good, this one. Hopefully Barack will have a little bit of a fight with Tom as well. Obviously with those two right at the front. We know that pole position has been a bit of a curse this season, so I'm sure Barack's sitting there thinking, I get him into turn 1, I might well have a good chance. So hopefully those two will have a clean, fair race.
Yes, hopefully. I do not want any of them to crash out or anything like that, because usually from a neutral perspective, I want to see the championship go all the way down to the final race. We have done that in the last 2 or 3 seasons, and I want to do exactly the same here as well. So, putting my hat on, I hope Baraka does well. But if Tom wins tonight, then he definitely deserves it. He's got the more consistent hat on. He's got pretty much 5 podiums in a row, 4 wins in a row. He's also got a win in France as well, and that's really what kicked off his championship campaign. And unlike Barat, he didn't have the best start to the season. He started with a DNF in Portugal as well. So, and to be honest, I wasn't expecting him to be up there, because I think he was in the midfield at the time as well. So it shows you can improve in a game cycle as well. And I've looked at the F3 standings from last season, and Tom had the most wins out of Devon, who actually won the championship in the end. But because of Devon's consistency, that's what helped Devon win the title, and Tom had some really bad final few races. Let's hope Tom can forget about the F3 finale from last season for the final few races, because it's his first chance tonight. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to be winning the race tonight, and can Tom clinch it? If Barat finishes 3rd or higher, and the championship fight goes to Imola in a few weeks. If Barat finishes 4th or lower, then Tom wins the title. It is as simple as that. So, but what Barat does have that Tom doesn't is he's got his teammate near him. He's in 4th position on the same side of the grid too. So, Bonin has got to work together with Barak on this one. He's got to.
Yeah, we've seen the two Mercedes not work together brilliantly in other races, and we've seen the Aston Martin team is working together really well, but as we know, Kazizel's right at the back, and so he won't be able to do anything. So this is where Mercedes really do have to just play their cards right. A 1-2 today would certainly help towards that, but I don't think Tom's going to be feeling a massive amount of pressure today. I think he knows this is pretty much all in his hands. Even if it doesn't happen today, or even next time out in Imola, it's still pretty much there for him. But I wonder if he will still fight if Barak comes. I want to see a good fight, but if he sees Barak pass him, will he just be like, yeah, okay, go ahead, it's only a 4-point loss? If it's for the win, of course, it could be even less points of a loss if it's lower down. We'll have to wait and see how safety cars work. With all these guys on mediums, perhaps they could end up in this, and they tend to end up in it anyway at the end of a race like this, on this track. So, yeah, there's a lot for Tom to worry about today, but as long as he keeps his cool, it should be alright.
Yes, I've just seen the chat as well. Tom's time was only 9,000 slower than the PSF1 pole time from last season. So, if Tom delivers brilliantly in the final few rounds, maybe he could get a spot in F1 this next season as well on F1 22. That was an interesting stat from one of our PSF1 commentators, Luke Etheridge, as Legend goes up to his grid spot at the moment. The last car to fill the grid, a full grid for the third to last round of the season. Let's see who remains on top after tonight.
So, last car then, lined up onto the grid. Legend. We'll have to see how he gets on. We know how quick he is. But the lights are on here. And it's a very, very big turn one. Tom's going to have a lot to worry about as we head up. And we are away here in USA. But it looks like a very wheel spinny start, doesn't it, for the Aston Martin? Surely Barack will be going straight through. Let's say it's such a wide corner. He has so much room to make it work. And he has done. So Barack takes the lead of the US race. And look at the contact there from Bolin as he heads through. He nearly tipped Tom around, and that would have been very controversial. And we do see Legend spinning off, as he as well has lost a lot of ground in the early stages of this race, and as he in fact is now he's retired but not crashed. So I don't think that'll need any safety cars or anything like that. We're racing away still, and it looks like Bolin is putting the pressure on. Down the inside he goes on Tom. How hard is the Aston Martin going to fight? He's not going to be able to fight. He's been pushed off the track, and that might help Cameron Dowds get an invitation. So Tom having a really bad run at the start of this race, and I suppose this is him thinking about his championship in the long term rather than just blowing it all tonight.
Yes, because you don't really want to be losing out on too many points tonight, because it could swing in Barack's favour going into the final final couple of rounds as well. So the momentum really has got to be on Tom right now, but it's not the end of the world, like you're saying, if Tom doesn't win this title tonight. But there's plenty of people that can spoil the party. But Bowden did a very good job there to overtake Tom there. So I wonder if Tom is struggling, or I wonder if Tom is saving on his tyre wear. I think he's saving on his tyre wear, to be honest, because looking at the tyre strategy, the tyres are only meant to last about 10, 11 laps before they can go onto the medium tyres, maybe pit slightly earlier as well for the undercut to go on to the medium compounder tyres. Apart from Azzy, Legend did not get the best of starts. Dino is in the pits as well, so he has got front wing damage on his Alpine car, so he'll be going on to another set of mediums, I believe. Yes, I do see another set of mediums on his car. And we've, of course, got Devon as well, who's out of this fight, but could still realistically get in the top three in the driver's standings if he could get past a few people here tonight. He's got Matteo to try and get past in the Ferrari, who's been looking quite strong in these last couple of weeks as we head towards turn 8, 9 and 10. And you're going towards up this nice gradient here towards this DRS zone, which will be enabled on lap 3. And this should be very, very exciting indeed. But I don't think nobody's going to make a move as of yet until the DRS is activated. We've seen that last week in the F1 tier in PC. No one was able to make a move until late on, as we're starting to see Devon trying to go for a move on Matteo into turn 11 and 12. Can he make it stick going side by side into this tricky 90-degree corner? And I think this is going to be side by side for a long period of time as we go towards turn 15 and 16. Beautiful run from Devon there as well. Can he get into Matteo? Yes, he can. He's in P6 for now. He's now got to chase down Frankie for P5 at the moment. This is what Devon wants, and I'm sure he could capitalise if any bad things happen up front. Devon hasn't had a win all season. He was close a few races ago, but he's got to deliver tonight surely as well. But from the medium runners, Cohen looks like he is the leading medium runner at the moment in 11th place. So once the soft start to die, Cohen is going to be the one chasing them.
Yeah, and he's crucially staying for the DRS's, Cohen. So as long as he stays like this really for the whole stint, then yeah, he'll have a very good chance later on in the race of getting himself up into those points, which he has been scoring a bit recently. He had a long run of the season where he hadn't got any points, but now that he's been able to get off the mark, he's proving to be a more consistent and quick driver. And so, as I say that, he's just gone off the road. So he might end up falling out of DRS now. I try to praise him. He's gonna get mugged now. This is gonna wreck his strategy if he's not careful here. He just has to stay calm, really. Don't blow all the ERS, but if you have to get into the DRS, you have to get into the DRS. But I think he'll be overtaken now by Louis. So he's now no longer the lead driver, as we see Boland getting nice and close to his teammate. This sort of prevents Tom from overtaking, because Boland's getting so close that he's not going to do it, but Tom's certainly not going to risk it on both of them. So Yeah, the two Mercedes, they can definitely play this. They're at their own pace now. This is the big advantage of being 1-2. Of course, pit stops will be a bit of an issue because you can't stack them, so that's probably where Tom will be able to get one of them. But for now, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, so I wonder, Bolin has got to sacrifice on his strategy to help Barak tonight. He's got to, so maybe Barak will have to go for the undercut. We've seen the undercut work in PCF2, I commentated on last week, so I'm sure that's been playing on their minds ever so slightly as well. But the advantage that Tom's got is Tom can see Barak at the front as well. So if Barak pits, pretty much he's going to do the same thing, 'cause otherwise he's going to lose out on so much. But Barak may come out in traffic, and that's where Tom could gain all the advantage. We have to wait and see. So Barak has got to time his pit stop nice and well. He can't just afford to pit when everyone else pits or when there's traffic. He's got to make sure he has a decent gap to the ones on the medium tyres, because he is pretty much just got to get past all of them at the moment. I have to say, Frankie has had a good start so far. He's gained 1 place, so is Devon. Louis has gained 2 places, as well as Nicolo, Kazizel, Steph and Legends gained up 1 place, obviously, as he has retired. Biggest loser, we're starting to see Bolin has got past Barak up into P1. Yeah, I am surprised, to be honest, that they're switching positions. I wonder if they're doing this to make sure Tom doesn't get within range of those two. I don't know, or maybe they just want to fight. But I'm a bit confused as to why they've done that. But, you know, it doesn't really matter, because Barak would still take the fight to Imola if it stays like this. So it doesn't hurt him in the long run.
Yeah, but it might hurt him if Tom senses an opportunity. I doubt he will. If anything, this will actually help Barak, perhaps, to get back past, and maybe they'll just start swapping places every lap, and that's how they'll run this race. But, yeah, we'll see. This could just be part of Mercedes' plan for today, because now Barak obviously has a chance at it as well, going for fastest lap. Although that's not going to be a big matter, is it, until later on in the race. But the reason he might be interested in the fastest lap is that if he ends up losing position, say Tom does win the race, he could still stay in the championship by finishing 4th for the fastest lap. And so maybe he'll be thinking about that, just the extra point with the extra insurance there for him. But that's so early in the race to think about that. I'm sure someone will have mentioned that to him now.
Yeah, I'm sure someone would have noticed what results Barak needs to get and what results Tom needs to get at the moment as well. And to be honest, Tom knows what Barak's strongest tracks is, and he knows that Barak could be quite competitive around this track on his good day.
Tom's going to pass him at some point. I mean, look at this. Bowen's just pulling away. He is just pulling away. I mean, the DRS helps Barak to close up, but there'll surely be a point where he falls away a bit. He does seem genuinely slower than his teammate in race pace. Very interesting stuff here from Mercedes.
Yeah, because his straight line speed is amazing, but all of this, I think, well, at least Barak is not squabbling with Bolin, because otherwise Tom will be gaining even more time right now as well, because no one is able to get past unless you're in P2. But if Bolin drops out of DRS to Barak, then that's an opportunity for Tom. So I think Bolin has just realised that he was pulling away, and Barak was like, don't pull away, I need that DRS from you, because otherwise Tom would get me. So that is what Bolin has done, and again, he's going to get compromised, but if he is helping, then that is a wise move from Bolin, as Tom has got close into turn 1. He's got good traction as well on exit, so that should help him here at the moment. No major moves in the midfield at the moment, unless you're CC Brain, actually. He's closing in on Ricky for P9. And we also got Nicolo Soro catching up to Kryptonite as well. But obviously our main focus tonight is within Barak and Tom, and also Bolin and Cameron Dow's right behind as well. And Frankie as well. I know he's in the bottom of the championship. He hasn't scored any points. Maybe he can have a say on how this championship plays out in the final few races if he keeps up his pace, because I wasn't expecting him to be up there. So he's doing a great job in 5th position. Devon could get him potentially, but we'll see what the two Mercedes do. Bolin could not afford to pull away right now, which he does not, as Barak closes in. Tom closes in as well. You see, if Bolin pulled away even more, Tom would have closed up to Barak, got the DRS, and he would have potentially got past him. So there you go. Good tactics there.
Yes, and I'm looking at these medium runners. That mistake for Cohen unfortunately has ruined their early part of the race, because Louis not been able to catch because there's been no DRS, and with Ricky and CC Brain well, I say fighting, more CC Brain just moving up, it means that they get to pull even further away, because clearly Ricky's straight line speed would have been fantastic compared to Louis being nowhere, and then CC Brain would have had okay, but still better than Louis, so it would have just increased the gap even more. So, yeah, it's a shame to see them falling back, honestly, because without that mistake, for Cohen, in fact, he's going back past Louis now, and, you know, they would have been able to get a bit further up. But it's Louis making the mistake this time, and yeah, it's just costing them so much. They need a little bit of a safety car to get themselves back close.
Yes, it can happen. It can happen in USA. It's very, very prone to safety cars with how tight the S's is into the barriers as well. But apart from Azzy, no one has made any major mistakes. Legend, of course, has been caught up in mistakes. Same with Dino. But everyone else from 17th downwards has been okay in terms of damage-wise at the moment. Lap 7 out of 28. Bolin still leads Barat in second. Tom third. Cameron Dow's in fourth position. And there will be a potential for these drivers to make the pit stops pretty much from now onwards to go onto the medium compound of tyres, as we literally don't know which way it's going to go at the moment. And for those of you that are wondering about the constructors, that can't be decided tonight. The gap is too little, and if we add up the points together, it won't be enough for the Aston Martin guys to win. And pretty much because it was in 17th, and we need both cars to pretty much do maximum score in order to do that. So it's only the drivers that could be decided tonight, but as it stands, to give you an update, the title will still carry on another day because Barat is ahead of Dom, and he will close in just a little bit, but, well, Barat can't afford Tom to be right behind him because the gap will need to be 16 points going into Brazil for Tom to clinch it then. So Andrea's the first driver in. That is early by his standards, but he's going to be the benchmark for the drivers to follow. So he is going to go on to accept the mediums, I think, or is it going to be the hards? It is the mediums to be expected. A one-stop strategy for him to get to the end. Will any of the Mercedes drivers think about it? I'm guessing so. I don't think Andrea is a threat to them, but we'll see what Andrea can do as he tries to catch up to Kazizel now. But first for the soft runners to go in. Nice and early, though.
Yeah, very early. And coming out, I would say in good free space. He was catching Kazizel, but Kazizel is not actually here because his PlayStation turned off and isn't turning back on. So he's not going to be a challenge. It's whoever Andrea catches him in a DRS detection point, I might give him a little bit of an advantage. So the free air will last. It looks like Barak is going back past his teammate then. And Tom again, there's nothing he can do about this. These two Mercedes are they're just controlling this lovely. Lovely and simple for them, really. And I wonder if that sends something places in preparation for a pit stop. They don't want to let Andrea have a couple of laps advantage on him. They're only, what, 3 or 4 seconds at the most behind? Well, that's what Andrea was behind him. So, you know, they might be thinking about making their first stops, if not only stops now. And we'll have a look. See if Baraka is going to head to the pits now. As he comes through. Yes, he is. And that will let Tom follow him in. And I imagine that will probably get him past Bolin. Anyone going to make any mistakes on the way to the pits? I have seen it in a few league races where people have hit the wall on the way in, but for the 6 that have gone in, they're all okay. Leaves Bolin out on his own. A little bit of DRS on the main straight, but apart from that, he is going to have to make this gap up himself. And yeah, we will see where Andrea comes out as well. I don't think he was able to take up any DRS from Kazizel, so there won't be a massive advantage there. And you can see all the cars coming out, and he will slot in to 15th at the moment. That'll be ahead of CC Brain. And this is Tom's opportunity right now, because Barak isn't going to have any DRS whatsoever. He's not going to have any opportunity to defend if Tom makes an attack. And I think he knows that, the Aston Martin driver. If he fancies winning the race tonight, making it 5 in a row, then he's got to make this work, Jess.
I think the last time this has happened in F2 was, I think, Rafa? I don't even know. I need to check the history books. Has anyone ever won 5 races in a row in F2? I will have a look at towards the end of the race, actually, because Tom could make it to the record book, but even if he doesn't win the title tonight. And here we go. Tom getting the straight line speed that he needs. He did the right thing, pitting exactly the same time as Baraka did, as I was expected. Goes down a brilliant line, and he's up into the net race lead of the United States Grand Prix. But Barak will have the DRS on the next lap. So I wonder if Barak is going to challenge very, very soon. His teammate, surely he's going to come in. Yes, he is. And he's going to be going on to the mediums as well. Mateo stays out. Ricky stays out as well. They're going to be losing out so much time to the medium runners, but it is their call at the end of the day. So the first pit box for Boland. Nice pit stop for him. So we just hopefully going to come out, hopefully behind, in front of Tom and Barak. Or is he not? It's going to be close. It's going to be tight. The overcut could work. No. The undercut just about works. But he's lost out to
Cameron. Yeah.
He's lost out to Cameron and Barak and Tom. And he was in the race lead. So, but to be honest, that is a danger with having two cars, P1 and 2 like that. At least one car had to miss out. But at least it's not Barak that lost out this time. It's Boland. So Barak is still in his fight. And Barak is still chasing down our championship leader. And we want to see this fight go to the very end. It's two Mercedes-powered cars, so they have the same engine, but do they have the same straight line speed? So we're watching Barak's DRS then. He's going at 184, 185, up to 190 miles per hour. Can Barak send a move up into this corner? No. Tom, as Barak cuts the corner there, but Tom stays P9 for now, so Tom's overtake was quite crucial there on the last lap because Barak couldn't get past. So I wonder if Tom having clear air now is a sign for things to come right now. But as it stands, Barak will still hold on to this title fight anyway. But if Tom wins, that's still not good news for him for a few weeks' time. But we will have to wait and see. We'll see what Boland can do. Boland's got to close in at the moment, but we got the final soft runners in. They're going on to mediums until the end. And that will just leave the medium runners who have stayed in to start to pit the softs around about lap 19-20, I would say. That's when they'll be coming in.
Yeah, and I do wonder if the guys pitting a bit later out of those original set of soft runners, whether they're going to get a bit of an advantage later on in the race, Mateo and Ricky. The problem is, of course, they're now detached from the train. But yeah, perhaps they'll have an extra lap or two of freshness, and they could make use of that. So we'll need to keep our eye on those two, just in case it makes any sort of difference. If anyone's tyres of the front runners falls off, we could say the same for Boland, 1 lap fresher than Tom and Barak in front. Every little helps, and yeah, we'll see how that plays out because it was early for the pit stops, wasn't it? As we see Miltos side by side with Nicolo. And down the inside he goes, and he should be up into 4th place because Nicolo's having to come back at him from off the track. But he appears to be okay with doing that, and in fact he's now pushed off the Alfa Romeo, and yeah, I think the game's done for an illegal overtake. And Stefan's got up the inside. This is safety car written all over it, and there's contact with Miltos, but actually Stefan's made a pretty decent move there to squeeze through the middle of those two. And that is good battling from them guys, I suppose, in terms of our entertainment. But it does detach Miltos from the DRS train. That's always the big problem with these types of things. It's why they don't race so much in the early to mid stages of the race.
Yes, they're saving their tyres now. They've got to, because they've got to last for another 6-7 laps before coming in. Because we get to see what the pace is with 11 lap old mediums, because that's what the ones on fresher mediums we've got to contend with when it gets to around about lap 20 or so. So this is a kind of like a guinea pig test run for the top 6 at the moment, because they'll be on fresh softs. And I have to say there's quite a big gap between the softs and the mediums in terms of the delta. I will need to double check. 1.3 seconds actually between the softs and the mediums. So when everyone comes in on fresh softs, then the top 6 are going to be insanely quick. The question is, will they be able to get past within the DRS? They're on the same DRS train as well. The only one out of DRS is Miltos and Tom. And Barak, he's just dropping out of Tom's DRS almost. 6 tenths. He's just no match at the moment. Meanwhile, Nicolo tries to get past Steph for P5. So that's, again, another position gained for the medium runners. And he now is chasing down Miltos for P4, and I'm sure he's going to get another move on him soon as well, because Miltos is out of DRS. Louis, on the other hand, is now going to chase down Cohen for P1 of this race, and he's looking pretty good at the moment, because I'm sure Cohen has had a bit of a moment earlier on, and his tyres might be a bit more hot than Louis', but we will see what he could do. Can Louis or Cohen get another points finish? It's still looking possible right now at the moment because there's people like Dino Casillo and Legend that are struggling today and to get into the points, so it could still happen at the moment. That 13 of 28, we're pretty much almost halfway into this one, and we still don't know whether the championship could be decided tonight or whether it will be rolled into Imola, but stay tuned for these last 13 or 14 laps and you will know very soon.
Indeed, so we will see how this all ends up panning out. Like I say, it is going to be a bit of a waiting game. We will try to keep you nice and entertained, but yeah, hopefully the guys on mediums will be able to come through nice and quickly. We've seen it before in the past. I remember with the F1 tier, we saw someone nearly win on the ultimate strategy by, you know, breezing through the field in the last couple of laps. This is one of the best tracks for the ultimate strategy, and this is where the championship could end up being won for Tom, because obviously if Barak ends up getting caught up in anything, he could fall down, and he's not going to be getting the fastest lap today, is Barak. He just isn't. There's no chance. So that will mean that he would have to stay on the podium, as you see Louis and Cohen fighting, Nicolo and Miltos fighting as well, and Barak even wants to get involved in the action as well. So all the fighting starts a little bit early, just before they start to catch up to Steph. I wonder if this is Barak thinking, if I get... Oh, he's hit him off, and that's really risky stuff from Barak. Surely he won't try a retaliatory move. Of course he will. And that'll just be easy pickings for Tom. The reason they're doing this right now is possibly because they fancy DRS off the two cars in front who are also fighting. And what they've done is actually meant none of them get it. Because Steph and Miltos, despite fighting, the guys behind have lost time. And I reckon Louis and Cohen, I hope that their fight was nice and clean, because they'll have gained some nice time from this. And they'll have enjoyed the advantage of an extra second gap. But yeah, I think Barak there is trying a desperate attempt to really surprise Tom. But I think Tom, he knew what was coming, I guess. And now he can start getting through these medium runners on his DRS. But yeah, okay. It heated up a little bit earlier than we thought it would. Good stuff.
Well, we said there was going to be quiet in the middle stage of the race, and look at that, they're battling, so I wonder if they're going to keep like this at the moment. But Miltos and Steph are fighting for a position. They're not going to let the likes of Tom and Barak through, surely not, because that will allow Miltos to get past Steph, and there you go, that'll be another position lost for Steph if he's not careful. So this is going to get very heated between these guys as well. And we got Cameron Downs joining the party as well. Look at that, he's a 10th behind Boland, and he's going to have the extra speed, but we'll see if Barak, can he do the same as he did last lap and get within DRS that he needed to? Nope, he does not. Meanwhile, Miltos gets past Steph up into 5th place, and just like that, that has allowed him to close on to Nicolo, and he's not going to lose that much time. Miltos got us a penalty, and they're still scrapping. Look at that.
Look at Tom though, where's he meant to go in all this? Here comes Barak up the inside. He's going to try and take advantage once again. And they make contact again. And now this with Boland and Cameron fighting as well, side by side, almost into there. If these guys go too hard, then this put Barak under pressure to lose the position. I think he's the one who's got to be aggressive here. And he has been. He's gone through, but look at Boland. He's going to make it a Mercedes 1-2 again.
This is crazy. I was not expecting that. Boland, excellent stuff from him. Tom didn't even need to do that, but with Barak fighting like that, that's helped him and his teammate. Tom's going to try and go for a run into turn 1. They're fighting at the moment. It did not work there. Cameron Downs almost got Tom in the process there. Tom could not afford to do this right now, even though the pressure is not on him this week. He wants to have less pressure going to the final 2 rounds, because like we said, USA is one of his strongest tracks. He knows he's got to deliver tonight, because otherwise he's got it all to do in the final 2 rounds. So I think it's not where he wants to be right now, but this is very good for us, because from a neutral perspective, we can see the championship close up even more indeed, and we have seen it in the past where people have gone from so many points down to win the title. I've seen that in Xbox at one point, so it could still happen to Barak here this season. As Steph once again gets past Miltos. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, but this is just going to help Barak close up this time. Down the inside he goes on Steph, and he's got to be careful not to make contact. I reckon Tom may already have his eyes on an investigation into the driving from Barak, as Steph has a big moment. This is just brilliant news for Barak. He gets a car between himself and his teammate, but that might encourage Tom, because now Boland is having to slow down a little bit more. Oh, this is a really tricky position to be in. Miltos perhaps has chosen the smart option of just getting out of this. But can Bolin now get through on Stefan towards turn 1? Surely he'll be looking at doing, and just to make sure that they've got a car between themselves and the Aston Martin of Tom. Down the inside does go Bolin, and I think he will be able to get through. Will Tom follow him? That's the big question. He's using the ERS, he's giving it everything, he's got more grip on the tyres, but Steph has still got the track position. He's done really well there to hold on, and look at the gap Barak's done. He's going to be nearly a second clear of his own teammate soon, and that is bad news for Tom. This is what he was hoping was going to happen to Barak, but it's gone the other way instead, and all the time they've lost doing this will help Louis and Cohen at the front, and Kryptonite as well. Those three are doing a very good job indeed on these mediums, and will be a little bit closer than they expected they'd be after their pit stops, because Tom and Steph still fine, and now it's the Mercedes of Bolin trying to catch the other Mercedes, Barak, who hasn't got any DRS anymore. And Tom, he'll be going with a vengeance. And Steph, he's now been irritated by Cameron as well. He'll be looking to join the party.
Yes.
Oh, and look at that. Frankie as well. He's snuck through. That was a nice move.
That was a good move from Frankie as well, doing a great job. I'm not going to jinx Frankie too much, to be honest, because last time I said he did well, he spinned it. So he's doing well in the Williams at the moment. Could get his first points of the season. Currently sitting in last in the championship standings. Does not want to be last for a long time, and it could be a decent result for him if he keeps this up at the moment. Still, the top 4 yet to pit. Miltos pitting on the soft early than I was expecting. But are they going to overheat towards the end of this race? We saw Cohen, Kryptonite, Nicolo, they're pitting as well. I thought they were going to pit lap 18 and 19. They're pitting now. We got the McLarens double stacking. That's not what they want. Surely they must have wanted to communicate as a team on when they were going to pit. But they didn't, it looks like, which is costing McLaren even more time. So Cohen is now your leading soft runner at the moment, as Miltos lost so much time in that pit stop. As Frankie, oh no, Frankie! He's got a time penalty. That is a shame. That will help Devin up, because Devin will be probably in a net 5th place at the moment due to Frankie's penalty. And Andrea's got a penalty behind him as well, so he's going to gain regardless right now as well. And this could get very tense. This could get quiet as well, but Tom's within DRS, but you can see the Mercedes team, they're doing exactly the same to what they did at the start of the race. They're working together, and Barak has got to thank Bolin for this, but no, surely not. Barak's not going to let Bolin through. No, he's not. That was a panic attack there just for a second there, but he didn't. So Barak still stays ahead, and Bolin is doing a Sergio Perez right now, holding Tom to help his teammate. I'm liking this.
Yeah, this is not over yet. This is going to get very interesting indeed, because like I say, with Tom where he is, he will be, I'm sure he'll be slightly seething, right? He'll be thinking, I cannot believe. But the thing is, right, maybe he can look at this and say, right, if I could just get past Bolin and I could send Barak to the stewards, that 4th place that he'd be finishing in, that might not be a bad option. He might well get that. And so I wonder if Barak will be sitting there thinking, oh, what if he puts you under investigation? What this is going to be like Brazil, where he got the penalty. So this isn't completely over yet. It could unfortunately end up in the steward's room. It most likely probably will, actually. I hope it doesn't. If Tom's on the podium at the end of the race, we can of course ask him. But for now, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it may just be a racing instant. They may not decide to fight this. They may want to just say, oh, just fight it on chat rather than fight it in the steward's room, to be honest, because Tom's got a few more chances to do so. Barak has pretty much only got less chances than him to do so. So Tom pretty much can potentially do it at Imola if he wants to at the moment. But Tom would have wished he had his teammate to help him at the moment, but he's currently sitting in last place at the moment. Everyone's done their mandatory pit stops at the moment, and you can see if Bolin was not Barak's teammate and he's not in a championship fight, Bolin would have got past Barak due to the amount of DRS he had and the traction, but he's not. He's helping his teammate. Tom did not get past me. The same with Cameron Dowles. We're going to watch the soft runners start to close in now. The first of the soft runners is Cohen, 5.3 seconds behind CC Brain, and it's falling. It's falling at the moment. This is very, very good news for Cohen. He could be on for another point-scoring race if he keeps this up as well. He's doing pretty much the medium runners who started on the medium, who's on the soft now. like Owen was saying, is doing a brilliant job at the moment. They're pretty much where they started and potentially could get a good result out of this. 4.3 seconds. And don't forget, there's still penalties from Andrea and Frankie as well. It won't be long before these guys are also in that DRS train.
Yeah, this is happening a lot sooner than these front runners were wanting because of all the fighting that was going on. And with Matteo falling outside the DRS range, I think Cohen could realistically, at the very least, be looking at a 7th place. And then if Frankie's penalty, that will probably make it a 6th place. So that's it. I'm assuming that'll be the first target for these soft runners. A safety car at this stage would be massive for these guys because we get them right up to them. But for now, I think they'll be cashing in 2 or 3 laps anyway. Perhaps they actually don't want that safety car. Yeah, 10 laps, and the gap from Cohen to the lead is just 8.9 seconds. They will be certainly causing problems. And here comes Bolin, and here comes Tom. They're going to go 3 wide for the lead. Oh, could be put under investigation as well. And Tom will not be happy with this because Bolin moved very, very late on the straight. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I'm sure Tom, again, will be absolutely livid right now. He loses the back end. I wonder if he wanted to try and have an attack on Barak. He's now hit his own teammate. These guys are really giving it some now, and they're surely not going to go side by side through the triple right-hander. That'll be a massive mistake to make, as here comes Cameron as well. These Mercedes are meant to be trying to help each other out here. But what they might both have done now, they may well both have put themselves in a position where they could be under investigation by Tom. Tom will be, again, I'm sure of it, seething at all this that's going on. Because it brings everyone closer to him. It puts them under pressure. And it doesn't look like Mercedes are playing fair. Down the inside he goes. And he makes contact now with Barak. Now it's his turn to make contact again and again as they head through towards turn 2. And the clean fight I was hoping for, it's not happening. It is definitely not happening.
I think I can tell that this is a very intense rivalry now. That how many little races to go, I think it's just getting more and more close. I think that they were friends, I think, at the start of this, but now they're definitely rivals between these two as well. And please don't let this get decided by the stewards as well. And hopefully this will be much better fighting. But that was a bit late on the brakes for Tom there as well. That was definitely on Tom there as well. But hopefully no damage was made. Here comes Tom. This is going to be a late lunge if he does it. Barak tries to fend on the left-hand side. He goes then. But Barak closes in on his own teammate. His 2 teammates can't afford to fight like this. It'll allow Tom to sneak past. Coming into turn 13 and 14. He's got Barak by looks, I think. Yes, he has. All of this.
Look at Cameron. No, Barak's going for it again.
Barak's going for it again. And Tom's gone off.
Here comes Cameron. Do you know what? I think Tom might be allowed to keep that, to be honest. They're fighting so hard there. And I think Barak, he might well have just got a taste of his own medicine there. And Tom, this is so crucial. If he can just get Bolin, he'll be champion today.
So we did say it wasn't going to be over. We thought that it could go to Imola, but no, it could still go to Imola if it stays like this. If Tom stays second, Barak stays fourth, I believe it will. Oh, Barak, he can't afford to lose that many positions as Cameron Dowles gets him again into the S's. I don't think people get a move into the S's, but they do. Cameron Dowles probably doesn't know this, but he is having a massive say on how this championship is going to go. And he's probably a bit nervous looking at him as well. Look at Frankie. He's also in this train and he's rapid. Also the soft runners, they're in this train too. Coming in 3/10 behind CC Brain. They're going to potentially breeze past as well. Don't tune into F1 yet. I know F1's about to start. Here comes Cole
already.
But he's going to get past CC Brain, surely. He already does before the DRS straight. The soft runners can also have a massive factor as well. This is not what a position Barak wants to be in. If Barak loses one more position, I believe that's him out.
Yes, we'll need to see how this all pans out because there's a long way to go. There's a lot of fighting still to do. This has kicked off so much earlier than any of these medium drivers were hoping for. Cohen must be really fancying his chances because they're still fighting in the midfield. And here he goes, Cohen, up the inside of Ricky. As you can see, Andrea and Matteo fighting alongside as well. Doesn't quite get the move finished, but he has got a car between himself and the next soft runner of Louis. So he doesn't need to be massively aggressive so far. And just wait for the right moment to arrive as he heads towards the final corner. That might well be now. He still doesn't quite get it done. He'll have the exit, surely, and the DRS, but of course so does Ricky. And there's a few more close fights up towards turn 1 as well, but I think the only one that will be actually completed will be Cohen, who's now up into 9th place. Tom needs to save in that 1 second gap. He's been struggling to do so in the last couple of laps. The DRS has sort of been dragging him along a little bit here, and he'll want to win this on track to make absolutely sure. But I have a feeling Stewart's mind will be having a very busy night, because I think, you know, perhaps Barack will say, well, he overtook me off the track for that last move, and I'm sure he'll have questions. Tom will have questions of Boland perhaps as well. And who's got more ERS? They both got exactly the same, so it should mean that the DRS will be the deciding factor in this, as Cohen is up into 8th. Now he is absolutely flying through the field. He's passed 3 cars in the space of a lap here, and he still has 7 more to go to get this win in his own hands. Tom, he didn't use as much ERS there this time round, so he is still just about saving up. So I think he's quicker than Cameron, and that's really crucial, because it means that Cameron won't be able to really be a threat to him. So as long as Tom just uses the next couple laps to prepare, it could be one of those last lap moves that we see so often in these DRS trains. And oh, Barack must be sitting there dreading it, because he'll see it when it happens. And I think it will happen.
I think it will as well, and we always get crazy championship deciders. I know it may not get decided in the final race, but we always get a crazy race to decide it. We had it in Brazil last season and the season before, and it just happened in USA. I think I remember it wasn't as crazy, but in season 26 when I first commentated, Boland got a penalty. Tom's got...
That helps. That helps Barack.
If Tom just stays within 3 seconds, Tom's champion.
No, he isn't, because Barack hasn't got a penalty, so that'll put Barack on.
Oh, in P3. Yeah, good point.
That does help him out. But what doesn't help him out is the simple fact that Cohen is now just 3 cars behind him, and so Cohen, he'll be eyeing up at least a podium today, and so it could be actually Cohen who decides how this pans out. Louis will also have a hand in this. They will both catch Barack before they catch Tom, unless Tom makes some sort of serious error, as Louis gets himself ahead of Mateo. So it'll be 2 soft runners coming at it together. No move happening for Louis on, or for Cohen, sorry, on that back straight. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer. But, oh, this will be a tense finish. I'm surprised Barack hasn't picked up a penalty yet, by the way. The amount of track extending he's been doing. I know you can get away with a lot on this track, but he's only had 1 warning so far in this race.
Wow.
And that says a lot about what you're able to do on this, because there's been a lot of questionable lines at the end of the first sector especially. But, oh, Cohen, is he going to have the grip in the tyres? Will Louis' 1 lap fresher tyres be better for this, as Cohen is a bit of a slide out of the last corner? Don't get too impatient, you still have 5 laps to go. That's just 1 car lap and you can even win the race, you know, so just keep it nice and steady for now. And, yeah, hold your bottle. This could be a big day for Cohen.
His first win in PSGL was last season in China when he was a reserve driver. He hasn't won since then, and he looked a bit more comfortable in that race. In this race, he had to start, I think he started 11th, Cohen, on the alternate strategy. P11 was the ideal position for him. He was going for that alternate strategy, and this is definitely paying off. But can he get past the likes of Devon then, heading towards this back straight? No one is able to make a move up front. Boland's got to pull away from Tom in order to make sure he keeps this victory. Cohen, though, has run out of ERS compared to Devon. Devon's run out of ERS as well. So is Louis. They're all pushing out of DRS at the moment. But Devon is trying to get past Frankie out of all of this, saying, I don't want to be passed by Cohen yet. And Devon is up to P5, but we got Cohen that could get both of them in turns 13 and 14. He's got one of them at least. He's got to get past the second one.
Barack's going through. Oh, there's contact there. He keeps trying that dive bomb, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Cohen has got himself ahead of Frankie, as you say, but Barack, he's still going to try and make sure that he doesn't end up getting caught by Cohen. And the problem is, Devon passing Frankie has actually meant he's not going to have DRS on the way up to turn 1. And, oh no. Well, corner cutting and gaining a place. So Cohen will have a 5-second penalty.
Oh no!
Does that mean Louis on the 1 lap fresher tires now could find himself in the spot?
Seth's got a penalty
Barack
as well, but he's down below. But
yeah. Barack will be looking at these two coming up. Now he knows that one has a 5-second penalty, but he'll see the other one pop up on his dash at some point, and he'll be sitting there thinking, oh, these last 3 laps. When Cohen gets himself past Devon, they're gonna be stressful. And Louis, they've all got similar DRS or ERS levels, I should say. So I don't see that changing things too much.
But the thing
we're
is,
just gonna have to wait and see on this.
the thing is, Cohen and Tom belong to the same esports team. Cohen wants to see Tom win this title. Cohen is going to do everything to make sure the title gets wrapped up tonight. So he's going to try and make sure he gets past Devon to start with, which he does. And he's going to, hopefully he doesn't interfere with his title fight too much, because that'll be bad news for Barat and bad news for us potentially as well. But Louis also in this fight as well. Can he get past Devon? Oh, late on the brakes there through turn 15 and 16. They made contact a little bit. Devon goes off the track. That's Louis upper place up to P6. So he's in a net P5 at the moment because of Cohen's penalty. So actually no, P4. I don't know. I'm losing count on penalties at the moment. But it will be Tom that wins. And it'll be Cameron, then Barack, then Louis, then Bolan. I think that'll be the order, but obviously we will let the game calculate that. On lap 26 to 28, surely Barat's got to go for a move, maybe even on the penultimate lap to get the DRS. But Cohen's in that train now. Ricky's out. Too late. Is it too late? It's got to be too late for a safety car. In the pits. That's all right. Phew. I didn't want a safety car to spice up all the drama. Jeez. But yeah, it will be too late for a safety car anyway. Frankie's got a penalty.
So we're seeing then that Louis had fallen out of DRS, but he has been quickly able to break it back in. And if Cohen's able to do anything in the next 2 laps, then it will decide this championship today or next week. So that's sort of what we're seeing. It's annoying really for Cohen, because at this rate he has a good chance of actually possibly even going upright and winning the race on track. I don't know if he's going to be able to try and get this 5-second penalty removed. I'm sure he'll have some sort of case for it. We know what the game's like with penalties sometimes. But right now, he's not quite able to get Barack, but it's 2 laps to do it. And Louis will be wanting, obviously, to get up there as well, because he senses a podium at least. He's not going to sit back. He's on possibly the best sort of position right now to make this all work. And so I think Tom, he's not under pressure yet. He's been saving his DRS. There's actually a good chance he'll still be able to win the race on track. So we might even end up seeing that happening. But he's got the DRS and he has the ERS to defend, so he'll be fine for these last 2 laps as long as he doesn't pick up a penalty somewhere. Cohen not close enough to Barack at the moment as they all head up to turn 1. So Barack right now still holds on to championship position in terms of actually staying in the fight. The gap to his teammate is 2.1 seconds. With everyone staying in a DRS train, I don't expect that gap to fall away. Unless Tom can overtake Bolan and Bolan has some sort of issues and maybe gets held up a little bit and loses the 9/10 of a second. I wonder if Tom will be thinking about that. If he can make a clean overtake, might gain some time as Barack has a little bit of a connection issue. That would be a bad way to lose it, wouldn't it? But he's back into it. He's got the alien indicator on his car, and he had a big red X on it as well. But it's back to alien at the moment, and they all head down that back straight again. Louis will be sitting there feeling a bit annoyed really at the fact he can't really do anything until Cohen gets Barack, and I wonder if this is where the tyre is starting to just sort of fall away a little bit if you are Cohen. But we've got to keep our eye on this gap. Is Barack even going to get DRS on this last lap? Because if he doesn't, that could ruin everything. He's 9/10 away at the minute. He's going to have to use the ERS to catch himself back up. And we'll keep our eye on the detection point. He just about stays in, but well, he seems to be struggling for pace at the moment. He's going to, like I say, get to close back in towards turn 1, but we'll see what the fighting's like. Final lap has begun. And as of right now, Tom is closing on Bolan. I'm pretty sure he's going to be shaping up a move on this last lap.
Geez.
And we will see if he can get himself the win on track at the very least. Perhaps even drag Cameron past him as well. I don't know how that would really help, but I'm sure we'll see a little bit of action there. Cohen needs a miracle now, really. I think the tyres have started to go for him.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be his time today. But, well, he may not even finish in the points actually because of that 5-second penalty, but we'll keep our eye on it. Barack,
Frankie
the gap
does have a penalty,
9.5. The gap 9.5 tenths, and he will just about get the DRS, will Barack. So that saves him a little bit here. But how many cars are going to get past Bolin here? I have a feeling it might only be Tom, to be honest. But here he goes. Final lap. He already has this win in the bag, but he's going to just seal it with a pass, and he's done it.
Bolin wasn't
Back
even
into
challenging
the
there.
lead. Well, he's got no ERS left. Oh, he's going to fly up the inside, and he's going to spin off. What a silly move that was from Bolin. What was he trying to do there? But his teammate, he's going to have to let him go. He's going to have to let him go because that could easily have wrecked it for his teammate as well because he had to hold himself up. And that was really poor. That was really, really poor there from Bolin. And Barack, I mean, it helps Barack, I suppose, doesn't it?
Oh,
And
Cameron
it helps
Dow's at the
Cameron.
penalty as well.
He'll get that removed, I'm sure of it. There's nothing he can do about the car sitting in the middle of the road. And, well, comes Tom. He doesn't really care about any of this. He's been able to get himself through, and he's going to make it 5 wins in a row. This season, Cameron will have the penalty. We'll see what happens with that. And that means that Barack, for now, sits in 2nd place, with Louis in 3rd, Devon, Bolin, Cameron, Kryptonite, Mateo, Cohen, CC Brain, our point scorers. And honestly, I have no idea how this is going to end up. With the stewards getting involved, Barack may end up under investigation for some of the defending earlier on.
He might not be.
Bolin might end up with some pretty friendly interactions with some of the drivers after this one, after what happened on that last lap. So both Mercedes could be in a bit of a pickle after that one. I think Tom should be pretty clean. Cameron surely gets his penalty removed because it's not his fault the car went off like that, especially with the manner of the move. So the gaps right now, you know, there's a chance. There's definitely a chance. Say they give Barack a 5-second penalty for someone defending. If Tom puts it under investigation, then it'll hand Tom the title today.
Yes, but make sure you stay tuned on Twitter. If it does change, it will be an announcement on Twitter. If not, it will go down to Imola as it stands. So,
okay, well, we can ask him, can't we? We can ask him what he's going to do, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit debatable. It may just be hard racing, he thought, and he may want to fight on track, but we'll see. So Tom wins his 5th race in a row from Barack, Louis, Devon, Bolin, Cameron Dow's, Kryptonite, Mateo, Cohen and CC Brain. Frankie in 11th, what a shame by his 5-second penalty, dropping him outside the points. Can he catch a break? Then we've got Nicolo, Miltos, Steph, Andrea, Kazizel, and then your retirements are Dino, Ricky, Legend and Azzy. So there we go. So gap between Barack and Tom is 30 points. That is the gap now. So basically, I think if it stays like this, if the results stay like this going into Imola in 2 weeks' time, I think Tom just needs to not score. Well, basically, Barack needs to win the race in order to stay in this fight, or Tom needs to win Barack getting 2nd, I believe. I don't know how many points you get for 2nd. I think it's 12, isn't it? Or 15. I don't even know at this point, but obviously we'll keep you updated. But I'm sure Tom doesn't mind not winning the title today, but with him winning the race, that's helped him for Imola in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, it helps out a lot, and we'll see. Let's see what happens afterwards. But I'm sure Imola will be as aggressive or dramatic as this one now. Ah, man. I'm looking forward to talking to Tom after this, I've got to say.
Well,
I'm really looking forward to talking to Tom.
I think we all are, to be honest, as well. Hopefully we can get Thomas in for interview at the moment. We'll see what it's like in the chat, actually, to see if there's any things going on. Doesn't look like it at the moment. They seem to be pretty civil at the moment, which is quite surprising. So it may not get challenged. I don't know, but again, we will find out very, very soon. So whilst we wait for our top 3, I have to say, Louis, another impressive drive from him. He just seems to be getting the podiums, like I said earlier. Every race he's finished in the last couple, he's on the podium. So he's loving life. Obviously, he may get off the podium due to obviously Cameron getting his 5-second penalty removed. So he'll get the glory now, but obviously, when the stewards come out with a report, he'll probably get dropped down to 4th, I would say. But again, another result from Louis. I think one of my drivers of the day today.
Yeah, definitely. I think he did everything right, didn't he, by making sure he didn't get any penalties. If Cohen ends up losing his penalty, then you got to give them the same sort of plaudits. And yeah, they did very well. They all did very well today on that ultra strategy. Obviously, the fine at the front helped out, but still, they've done well there.
We're going to speak to Tom. We are going to be speaking to Tom. I did just ask him interviews, and he said sure. So hopefully we can ask him what has gone down. So Tom's not quite done it tonight, but he's got a much of a fighting chance to do it at Imola. So Tom, can you hear us?
Hello?
Tom, can you hear us?
Yeah, hello.
Well then, another win for you. Not quite the title here tonight, but your win tonight has helped you have a very good chance at Imola in 2 weeks. How does it feel? That was very tense, that battle with Barack.
Yeah, it was questionable to say the least, but I was just trying my best not to end up in a wall somewhere or something. But yeah, it was a good battle in the end. The Mercedes were working together well, just like boxing me in the different places and both staying ahead. That was well played by them, but in the end it got a bit reckless with dive bombs from Barack, but thankfully he was the one who came off worse from some of them, so yeah.
And I think me and Owen's question is going into this as well. Are you gonna report the questionable move to the stewards, or are you just gonna let the fighting on track and take it to Imola next week? Because I'm almost certain you're not gonna report it because you had a good battle, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a bit over aggressive, but I wouldn't report it because it's a bit wet. But like, yeah, I think if I would have been like wing damage or something, I'd probably report it, but I don't think it's worth it. Just gaining points, I'd rather.
You would rather do it on track.
Do it on track.
That is, I think, a sensible thing to do. And the gap now between you and Barack, 30 points. You said Imola was not as strong as you would say. You only need to outscore Barack by, I think, 4 points. I think. Actually, no. You need to you just need to outscore him, to be honest, in order to win. Do you think you could beat him again in 2 weeks' time?
Well, what's it called? I think Cameron's pen should get removed, so I think the gap might be 32 points. So
yeah, you just need to outscore him then.
He needs to outscore me by like 15 points. So to be honest, all I have to do is finish in the points, and I'll be the champion. But of course, I'm not just gonna sit back. I'll hopefully go for the win again. But
that is what we like to see, Tom. That you going for it, even if you still have a good chance. But Owen, do you have any questions?
Oh, I've got to ask, what was your favourite part then about the various battles you had today? Because that must be one of the most exciting races you've had this season.
Well, I think going around the outside of Barack after the DRS straight was quite satisfying. But then, I don't know, he sort of ruined it by sending it back up my inside. So all the clean overtakes that were made are basically ruined by, I don't know, something desperate that happened straight after. But I guess crossing the line in first is probably my favourite bit then.
What were you thinking then when you saw on that last lap Boland just doing the most desperate move up the inside? Because that surprised me how far back he was, and he just went for it. You must have felt the touch. Were you worried about it?
Yeah, I felt the touch, and I was somewhat worried, but the red arrow only came like at the contact. He was absolutely miles behind, so I knew I wasn't gonna get like it wasn't gonna be my fault. But yeah, with the damage model and the contact model, it was always going to be him going for a spin. I don't know, broke a bit later. He might have took my front wing off or something, but he didn't. It was more of he wanted the win. It was all or nothing. I think his pen might get removed, he said in the Twitter chat. Hopefully he can get removed. So he was going for the win. He wasn't doing something stupid. So, I mean, he went for it. It didn't work, but he didn't affect me. So I'm not that bothered.
Well done today, and good luck. Enjoy your break week as well, of course, and hopefully when you come back for Imola, you can seal this title.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow, I will still need to find, to be honest, if anyone was even close to matching Tom's win tally in an F2 championship before, because that would be amazing. But congratulations to Tom there. So I don't think anyone else would like to speak to us, unfortunately. So we're going to wrap up the stream there. Any final thoughts before we wrap up? Because we got a break week next week, so we're not racing. I'm sure everyone is going to be practicing for Imola on the breaks. In particular, Barak just needs Tom to not score, really, to be honest. I think that's his only chance of taking it to Bahrain.
I do think there'll be an element of it's pretty much already over for the drivers, but sometimes you see post-championship races end up being something most dramatic. You might see some shock results. I'm sure there'll be a couple of drivers in there who'd be spying perhaps a chance of taking a win where they may not have had a chance if it was a championship fight. Because I do think realistically, Barak must know it's over. Tom probably does know it's over. So hopefully actually what that'll mean is that we'll get some more sort of varied races for the last two.
I hope so as well, and I've seen an F2 in the past, in season 26 for example, we still have really good races in the final couple of races, even when the championship is decided, so make sure you stay tuned. 16th of May will be the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix in Imola, and well, whilst we have our break week, the PC side will still be racing, because they'll be racing Brazil, which got postponed about pretty much almost a month ago due to desync issues, so they'll be racing Brazil on Wednesday and Thursday night, but we'll be back in 2 weeks time for Imola. Make sure you join us then at 7 PM. If you want some more US Grand Prix action, we've got F1 on right now. They're just about to start their race. Actually, they're still going on towards the end of their qualifying session at the moment. It's looking close between Matthew Older and Santeri. Matthew Older could potentially increase the gap he needs to potentially take the fight to Imola, but we'll have to wait and see. Thank you for joining us tonight, everybody, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye.